Hey guys, so I was watching American Horror Story, and it went. I finished. I was watching the new season, and then after that, it started playing a season I had already seen, the one called Apocalypse, and it was interesting because that I'm watching this again now because, like the other, just from learning about all the energy weaponry, and how that they want to use this energy weaponry to what they say is to knock down missiles. And anyway, so I'm watching this episode of American Horror Story, where this nuclear missile hit Los Angeles or whatever. And um, so, anyways, the woman running this co-op or whatever um, says that tells these kids had been chosen to live in this co-op or whatever because they wanted to use them to, I guess, reproduce humanity or whatever. And she told them, well, you can either stay here or you can go out there in a nuclear winter. And I thought, boy, that's interesting, a nuclear winter. I was like wondering, could that correlate with the words dark winter, which we've been hearing about. And so I just went to look up nuclear winter. And so this is an article written on September 2019. It says nuclear winter may bring a decade of destruction. Wait, hold on a second. I'm going to go back here for a minute. So it says a nuclear winter would occur in the aftermath of nuclear blasts in cities. Smoke would effectively block out sunlight, causing below freezing temperatures to engulf the world. This soot or black carbon is the key factor in producing a nuclear winter. So, this person writes here, new climate models present a grim prediction of what would happen worldwide after a nuclear war between the United States and Russia. Nuclear winter would follow a prolonged series of nuclear explosions in urban areas. Why urban areas? What the heck? The more than 2,000 nuclear explosions that have been already detonated have largely been in unpopulated areas such as Bikini Atoll. This is a picture from the U.S. Department of Energy. This was written September 2019. The thought of nuclear war may conjure images of looming mushroom clouds, duck and cover drills, or local radiation fallout. These immediate effects are terrifying, but scientists say the fallout of a nuclear war would likely last well beyond the initial explosions. In a newspaper in the Journal of Geophysical Research Atmospheres, researchers detail a decade of destruction following a nuclear war between U.S. and Russia. Smoke from smoldering cities is projected to make its way to the stratosphere, where it will trigger a nuclear winter. The team used new climate models to approximate just how long and how severe the nuclear winter might be if Russia and the United States engage in nuclear conflict. They estimate a decade-long winter could linger after explosions, wreaking havoc on temperature, sunlight, and precipitation worldwide. So this is interesting just because of the other article that I showed made a video about where they're gonna, where they're introducing the public to these high energy weapons that they want to use lasers on the planes or whatever to try to supposedly shoot down these missiles, right? It just makes you think, like, it's, what the heck's going on that we don't know about, you know what I mean? Because they can do whatever they want, you know? A dark decade of winter. If nuclear war broke out between U.S. and Russia, the global repercussions would extend beyond politics and trigger major climatic trauma, specifically a nuclear winter. A nuclear winter would occur in the aftermath of nuclear blasts. In cities, smoke would effectively block out sunlight, causing below freezing temperatures to engulf the world. To weigh the intensity of a nuclear war between two well-armed nations, The team considered the current arsenals of the two countries. They noted that important metro areas, population centers, or cities with strategic value, for example, would likely be targeted. And if those cities were hit, everything would likely burn. Even asphalt can burn at the temperatures these bombs get to. He said these urban fires would burn everything in sight, producing a dirty, sooty smoke. Ew, Casey. Oh my gosh, my dog, she farted. It smells so bad. This soot or black carbon is the key factor in producing a nuclear winter. What's important about black carbon is it absorbs radiation very efficiently, he explained. Black carbon absorbs radiation and heats up, and the air surrounding it becomes very buoyant, and it's able to lift the soot into the stratosphere. If the black carbon stayed in the troposphere, it could eventually be removed by precipitation, but Koop said that once black carbon is in the stratosphere, it can last for years, triggering long-term global climate response. There are other non-nuclear events that could trigger aerosol releases into the stratosphere, including volcanic eruptions, wildfires. But Koop noted that neither produce the same effect as soot released from results of a nuclear war. I mean, they are obviously already released some type of aerosol into the atmosphere, clearly. But let's see here. Wildfire soot can also reach the stratosphere, but Koop noted that wildfires produce black carbon on a much smaller scale than what would result from a dedicated nuclear attacks on the cities. For example, the researchers state that a 2017 forest fire in British Columbia injected a few tenths of a teragram of black carbon into the stratosphere. In contrast, the estimated nuclear war could blast 180 teragrams of soot into the atmosphere. The team used climate modeling to predict what might happen to Earth after the influx of an enormous amount of black carbon into the stratosphere. Koop said their whole atmosphere community climate model version 4 has a much higher resolution than that found in previous studies, allowing the researchers to add more detail to predictions. The team also used an aerosol module called Community Aerosol and Radiation Model for Atmospheres to better represent how airborne particles might grow and stick together. Koop said using CARMA allowed the team to treat the aerosol particles more realistically. They found that after simulated nuclear blasts, almost the entire northern hemisphere was engulfed in stratospheric soot within the first week. In 2 weeks, soot had invaded the southern hemisphere. That's the power of black carbon, said Koop. It's very high. It lofts very high very quickly, and it spreads very fast. The researchers looked at changes in global average temperatures, radiation, and precipitation over a 15-year period following a nuclear war. Koop said their results can be summed up in one word: grim. Our research shows that in this U.S.-Russia scenario, nuclear winter would happen, he said, adding that the models show an almost 10 degrees Celsius reduction in global mean surface temperature, extreme changes in precipitation, and 90% reduction in growing seasons across many parts of the mid-latitudes. Solar radiation, important not only for surface temperatures, but also for photosynthesis, drops precipitously within the first couple of years of a nuclear winter. There's around 75% decrease in surface radiation, which is substantial. Precipitation rates don't fare any better, and global averages drop about 58% after injection into the stratosphere. Patterns of rainfall also shifted, including the weakening or disappearing of monsoons and new rainfall over desert regions. I mean, I think it's wild that they're writing articles about this and thinking about this. It's like, why are we gonna get in a war with Russia? Oh dear. I mean, that's what they're trying to. It seems like this is what they're preparing for. I mean, this is the reality that they're trying to think that they need to prepare for. There are dire consequences if nuclear weapons were used, not just for countries involved, but for the rest of the world. Wow. Koop hopes that their study will help inform governments and the military in their risk assessment of using nuclear weapons. The decisions between generals could affect the entire world for years. Wow.